Yeah, Wednesday the 3rd of January, 2018. Hope everybody had an amazing trading day. Welcome everyone to the Daily Market Commentary, where we do the same thing each and every day. We look at the same markets, the same bat time, the same bat channel, looking for areas that may indeed be possible turning points in the future or breakout trades and the like. So let's go ahead and dive right into it. For those of you new to the channel, the thing to remember is that all of the lines that we put on the charts, the only time we change them is during the recording so that you can see how trades change over time. So let's dive right in. Let's start with the S&P. So the S&P, whereas this morning I kind of felt like, well, maybe we'll get a bit of a pullback. Psych. And this is why I keep saying, don't try to tug on Superman's cape, don't spit into the wind, and don't short an all-time high as the market continued to rally even higher, shaking off any news that has come out. I was speaking to a friend of mine today, and you know we've just decided that if you wake up and the S&P is not in a lock limit down, then it's just going to keep going up, and that's really kind of what it feels like, right? Now, by the way, I don't genuinely believe that, but I'm not really willing to short this thing under pretty much any circumstances, as we set in a brand new all-time high again today. Now, by setting in another all-time high, we've made potential more buying opportunities, and this buying opportunity would be a bit higher. And once again, we're looking at buying on a bit of a pullback. Buying on a pullback is typically going to be the better opportunity, so that we're not paying the all-time high prices. We are getting in on a bit of a pullback, if possible. You don't want to wait for too big of a pullback, and if you're waiting for too big of a pullback, you may not get anything. But right now, I'm going to put this area here. I'm actually going to put this as a dashed line, simply because this was the old resistance, and old resistance becomes new support, and that's really what I would expect to come through here. This has really been shown to be a fair price value area, and so a little bit of a pullback into this 2,700 number would be, that would be a big deal. We don't need much, just a 10-point pullback to get you a decent buying opportunity. So there's the S&P. Nasdaq. So the Nasdaq, we highlighted this area yesterday. I was really hoping we'd get there in the overnight hours. Psych, not so much. And so, we still have an area just above, which kind of corresponds with the area that we had just highlighted in the S&P. This one might be a little bit more your appetite if you like a bit less exposure, as it's a slightly more narrow area, slightly more narrow position. So those are two levels, both in the Nasdaq and the S&P. All-time highs. So there's no reason to look at any short potentials at all. I'm not feeling, like there's a chance to short it. Crude oil. So yesterday in the recording, we had talked about how crude oil looked like it was in a potential rollover point. And we talked about it right here. And we said that this middle line is kind of acting as a kind of a rising support line, if you will, on the trend. And we talked about candle-to-candle style of trading. And then boom, that's what we got, was a very nice big move up out of that area. I'm going to guess most people, by the way, myself included, did not catch this trade. And the reason for that is simply because the move really started to occur at 1 o'clock in the morning, and I didn't have it set up to make that opportunity. But since we did get kind of that parabolic move up, and I look here at this area of resistance, I see this little bit of sideways price action right here above that resistance point where we could see price return in the future. So I'm going to leave this area here as a potential to get long when price comes down in. Now, a friend of mine today, Dennis, thank you for pointed out that there is some daily resistance up above us. That's really going to depend on the chart time frames that you're looking at and that you're using. So this daily resistance on this particular platform, the one that he was referring to was this one right in here, which has already held one time through, on this particular platform. Now, this platform doesn't adjust for those contract rollovers, which a lot of people are using. Some brokers, they will do that. So it's really going to depend on kind of what you're looking at when you do look back to see if that is something that is going to be, that's going to stop it from going any higher. I still like this. I'd like to see a little bit of a pullback, frankly, to get an opportunity to get back in through here. Gold. Now, last night when I tweeted out, hey, the DMC is live, and I tweeted it out about 5 hours after I posted it. Sorry about that. I said, it looks like our gold may be coming to an end. And that's what I had, and literally when I had tweeted it out, I was speaking to my friend Todd, who, if you guys want a good Twitter follow, it's at The Rigged Game. He's awesome. And he had talked about, he and I were on the phone when we were talking about this, and that's really when I tweeted out, hey, our ride in gold could be over. And then look at what happened earlier today. Big move down and then wicked right back up. So if you're doing the candle-to-candle style of trading on the daily chart, did we get stopped out today? The answer to that would be no. No. Matter of fact, it just allows you to move your stop up again because you move your stop up below each day's low. And so you'd still be in the position. No reason to be out yet. We put a couple buying areas down below. If it does start to go down, but remember, we're still riding from down in here. So just as Limp Bizkit said in the middle of the 90s, keep rolling, 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 rolling. That was terrible, I know. I sing even worse when I have a cold. All right, let's take a look next at our bond markets. So the bond markets, now this one we did roll out of because we had a daily chart, which we got a lower low. And so this candle-to-candle style of trading, you're stopped out on the lower low. We still have this area for reversal somewhere up in here. We were not able to get to that area today. Still holds, still very valid. And that area was found on the 1 hour time period, this little bit of basing. I really do like this area right here for a potential reversal. The Aussie. So the Aussie, we still are in on this breakout long. I talked yesterday about moving your stop up underneath this pivot. I like actually moving that stop up maybe even under this pivot now. We're starting to really see weakening momentum. If I were to throw a momentum indicator on here, you'll see that even though I have the same swing highs in price, I have lower swing highs in momentum. So the way I like to think about this momentum indicator is imagine throwing a ball up in the air. And if you throw a ball up in the air, it's slowing down the whole time until it eventually reverses. And that's kind of what this momentum indicator is showing me. When I see lower swing highs in price, the same swing highs in price and lower swing highs in momentum, then that tells me that we could get a little bit of weakness. Now, combine that with we're coming up near a potential reversal point, so you might want to just move your stop fairly tight. That breakout wasn't a great breakout the whole time, but there's still room for it to keep running a bit. The euro still did not come down to our potential buying area in the euro, and that level is still very much in play. Nothing really above us. I think there's a lot of strength in the euro overall. Never did make it down to this area here, unfortunately. But still continuing to rally up from here. There will be, in my mind, a chance to get long on a pullback into here. I'm just not sure how long that's going to take. And then the Canadian dollar. So the Canadian dollar, we're starting to get a little bit of a rollover in the Canadian dollar. Finally, as it's just been on a tear straight up. And when I look at this on the daily, that's a really strong upward move. We are kind of coming to a bit of where this double top existed here in the Canadian dollar in the past. We're coming up to that resistance point again. Could drop us down a bit and allow us to get back in. So if I look at this on a 4 hour time period, you will see some areas in through here. Now, this acted as resistance in the past. And if I go further to the left, you'll see that right around 79.2, 79.4, 79, that we've got a lot of peaks in there. So that to me would be that 79 becomes kind of a fair value area, right? That's a fair price area. And so when I look and see an area that's been respected so many times, whether it was respected as resistance or as support, it is going to start to hold a little bit of water for me. So I'm going to put this in as a potential reversal right through here. Great British Pound. So our breakout on the triangle is still continuing to run. Yesterday, we talked about how our trend line is rising up. We broke below there today, so I would not be object at all if those of you that were long have decided it's time to jump ship, to be like the rats and just bail. I'm going to move these lines because my guess is most of us that did catch this are now out. However, I will say this hourly, we are putting in another potential breakout. Now, the breakout that we're putting in this time is to the downside, and the reason for that is because I got the same lows here and some consecutive lower highs. So these consecutive lower highs, the same lows, combined with the fact that it acted as support in the past, if it breaks down, I think there's a good chance we could get down to this 34.85 region. So keep that one in mind as a potential short on the British pound, kind of where we are. And then the Japanese yen, we're still in between those two areas. Somebody had asked me today via the message on the YouTube channel if I still like this area up here. I do still like it, but he'd asked specifically because we were getting a lot of this sideways, nothing happening before price got in. I actually like the fact that we weren't able to get up into it and we fell down. The best thing that can happen now is a parabolic straight up move to come into here so that we can possibly get a little bit of a reversal from that zone. So with that being said, I'm gonna turn this thing off. I hope you guys have a great trading day. If you've got any questions, please feel free to reach out. Chuck at IIEFinancial.com. Leave some messages in the chat box down below. Subscribe to the page, share the page, link the page, tell your neighbors, tell your friends, tell your buddies, tell your trading partners, tell whoever you want. And thanks so much for joining, and I will see you soon.